Live from the Pines, your East Texas football podcast. I'm joined by J. Mark, K. Stubbs, and Spoon. I'm Griff. We got a lot of hot topics to talk to you about today. We're going to start off with our most impressive teams of the college football season, followed by our most disappointing teams. We're also going to mention the coaching carousel, the new hires around the country. We got Elko to A&M. Jed Fish to Washington. We got Sharon Moore being promoted from Michigan offensive line coach or offensive coordinator. I can't remember. Who gives a shit? And now he's the head coach in Michigan.
We want to give a big shout out to the guys at Zilker Belts. Use the discount code PINES936 for 25% off all purchases online. Shout out to Bogey Brown for the hookup.
Yes, sir. Zilker Belts for all your fashion needs, whether you're big, small, large, or any other,
whatever, they got it all.
If you're a max handicap, if you're 0.134, go put a Zilker belt on, and you will play better.
Yeah, but anyway, so we're going to mention that along with the Super Bowl preview at the end, and if we have time, we'll get to the coaches on the hot seat and the transfer portal. Fellas, how y'all doing tonight?
Doing great. Ready to get
pretty good.
Pretty good.
Ready to talk ball.
Let's bring this to our first topic. So
you're muted.
Trey's muted and whatever. So that brings us to our first topic of the night. We're going to talk about a little bit about the college football 2023 season. There were teams that disappointed us, teams that impressed us, and there were teams that surprised us. So first off, we're going to start with the teams that impressed us the most. And let's see. I think I'll start with Trey first. So Trey, give me three of your most impressive teams of the season.
Number one, I have Michigan. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Cheaters.
Well, I mean, depends on how you look at it.
Somehow,
I thought he was just being a good coach. I mean, that's one thing. So, like, if I talked to my dad, a world-famed middle school football coach, and he said when he scouted other teams, you watch the play call. If you watch the signs. In baseball, what do you do on second base? You steal signs. So was he being a good coach? Now a 500-page affidavit is probably, or manifesto, sorry. I'm thinking in lawyer talk like David. But the manifesto 500 pages is probably a little extreme. But, I mean, I think he was just being a good coach. I mean, he was going the extra mile. He was paying his own way.
The cheaters never win.
They won.
They won. So
they won.
And I don't think anybody else is really innocent in college football, but that's another topic.
No, that's
so based on that logic, the Houston Astros are legitimate World Series champions, right?
Duh.
Who said they weren't?
Who said they weren't?
A lot of haters are. I'm an Astros fan.
If they didn't win a World Series, then you don't have a poster of Vince Young behind you.
What'd Vince Young do?
Nothing. I'm saying if they didn't win, then you don't have one.
I don't see that correlation, but
yeah, I don't got.
You have one, so they won.
Who else do you like?
Didn't cheat in 05.
Hey,
that's debatable.
Everybody cheats.
Yeah, Cole. Yeah, they went 12. They went what was it? 12, 13, 14 without cheating. Yeah, whatever. But all right, Cole. So
we all know USD was
got Michigan. Trey cops out, picks Michigan, picks the cheaters up north.
What's your other two, Trey?
The second one is I had Washington up there as well. Obviously, it's easy. The two teams have made the national championship.
Shout out to Jalen Polk.
Yeah. Okay. They didn't win, so he get drafted high, but he didn't win.
Adrian Lufkin.
It's the performance that Michael Penix had. Some say he was snubbed. I don't. I know maybe some of us do. I think they just exceeded expectations. That's why they were impressive. I mean, they weren't picked to win the Pac-12. They played a lot of close games coming down the stretch because the offense kind of lagged. But, I thought they were real impressive Michael Penix, very good. That offense, very good. That defense was really good down the stretch, except for when it counted. And the third team, I'd have to say Arizona. I think some other people have Arizona on here, but I mean, Jed Fish was his second year. What did they finish at? Like 11-3 or something. No,
Did they
that's
beat the bowl
impossible.
game?
Played
They beat
13 games.
Oklahoma in the bowl
State.
game, right? Ohio State.
Yeah,
Ohio
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma and Alamo Bowl.
Yeah. Because I had Oklahoma winning that. Really upset me.
Yeah. That's your first
10-3. I mean, 10-3 in the second year, having a 10-win year as a second-year head coach is obviously going to get you, going places probably bigger than Arizona since it's a borderline basketball school. But so we'll talk about that later. But those are my top three. Well, Jalen, what were yours?
So I'm going to say Texas for sure. What Steve Sarkisian has going on over there in Austin is, it's a story to, for sure to make the right because look what he's done. He took, what were y'all 2 years ago, David? 5-4?
5-7.
5-7.
His first year, and we lost to Kansas at home.
Yeah, he's in the playoffs now,
It's great games.
Yeah, he's in the playoffs now. He beat some great teams to get where he's at, won a Big 12 championship. I'm also going to say Florida State. I think if Florida State's quarterback stays healthy, they, maybe shock the country. They had a hell of a defense. Yeah, I know you're not bought on the Florida State train, but I think they had one of the best defenses in college football. I'm also going to say Bama. I think that nobody had Bama ending up where they ended. Week 2 they go to Texas comes to Tuscaloosa. Texas thrashes in the fourth quarter, takes home back to Austin. Texas. I mean, Bama was this program that was they didn't know if they had a quarterback. They tried another guy the week after that. He didn't do anything. Throw Milroe back in there. Milroe gets put in the Heisman talks. He had a remarkable season. He gets to the playoffs, plays a great Michigan team in the Rose Bowl, and stuff happens. You get down to the red zone. You got to finish. You score right there. You win the ball game. You're playing. For a national championship. But at the end of the day, Saban's done. DeBoer's moving in. I think Saban had to coach a lot more than he's normally had to. He's used to having the talent. You run the ball down everybody's throat. You play big defense, and you just play Bama football. And I think this year, he had to, go a different way of winning.
Yeah, and to your point, I mean, he had he had Bryce Young, he had Mac Jones, he had Tua Tagovailoa, he had Jalen Hurts.
Could you imagine playing at it was a national championship? Hurts is not getting the job done. You throw some kid in from Hawaii that nobody's really heard of, and he just goes out there and just shocks the world.
Yeah, and even when he didn't have one of the top quarterbacks in college football, he had
Mac Jones.
He had Derrick Henry running the rock with Jacob Coker against I think it was the Fiesta Bowl when they beat Clemson the first time.
Exactly.
Greg McElroy. I mean, the list goes on for mediocre Alabama quarterbacps, but
yeah, you had the game managers between 2009 with Greg McElroy, then you had AJ McCarron, then you had Jake Coker, and then you also had Derrick Henry, Trent Richardson, Yeldon, all those.
The game's changed. That's what kept Nick Saban relevant.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't that national championship they had with LSU like 9-6 or something? They won. It was
that was the regular season. They beat LSU.
No, they played in the national championship. Remember?
LSU beat them.
Yeah.
LSU beat them in the regular season, and they won like 21-0 in the national championship.
Yeah. Stubby, what do you like?
So my three teams, kind of more of a surprising, impressive. One is Washington. Obviously, Trey kind of touched on why that. We didn't really see them coming out the Pac-12 with Oregon, but they
beat Oregon twice.
Or Utah.
Yeah.
People forget about Utah too.
Yeah.
I mean, you go down like two quarterbacks and your best receiver and tight end that they had.
Utah's been pretty good
tough.
for a little bit. And
I love watching Utah ruin USC season.
It was already ruined, but we got, and then I got Missouri, 10-2 in year 2 under Eli Drinkwitz. Did not see that coming in the SEC, so I was pretty impressed with that one. I actually
who they lose to?
Brother.
Georgia and
LSU.
So I mean, that's 2 top programs, and then my third one is Arizona.
Close too, like that was a 1-possession game in the fourth quarter in the road in Athens.
Yeah, that was a great game.
So, yeah, that'd be my 3 with Arizona as well. So,
All right.
I like the one thing that they said about Florida State. The one thing that I think set them apart was giving Mike Norvell a 5th year because he was supposed to be fired about 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
And you don't see that, and we'll get into the new hires later, but I think they're going to fall into some of the same things.
What do you got to say, Griff?
Well, I'm gonna go Ole Miss.
Yeah,
Ole Miss going 10-2 in the SEC West. Year 4 or 5, maybe 6 under Lane Kiffin, going 10-2 with Jackson Dart at the helm, playing quarterback for Ole Miss. They're able to beat LSU in a shootout. Eventual Heisman Trophy winner Jaden Daniels outlasted A&M. Barely, they lost Alabama, but winning in Bryant-Denny Stadium is very hard to do. They also lost to Georgia in Athens, which 2 very, very hard games to win. I definitely think Kiffin did his best coaching job this year and has them on the right track. And you look what they've done in the NIL in the portal, along with NIL contributing to that. They brought
how
in
much money did they spend in the portal? Was it like $13 million?
I don't think anybody really knows exactly.
But
It's hard to put a number on.
Yeah,
I mean, they got
I
Walter.
thought they released a number.
No, they don't.
They got like the number 1 running back, the number 1 defensive lineman, and Walter Nolan.
They got that. They got that guy from A&M, Walter Nolan.
They got Walter Nolan from A&M. They got Juice Wells from South Carolina. They lost Quinshon Judkins to Ohio State, but I mean, I think that he's kind of a plug and play guy. I mean, great running back, but shelf life of running backs are not that great. I mean, I think at a school like Ole Miss, you can kind of plug and place and bring back his production, although it'll be hard to beat. But besides the fact, another team I had was the most impressive. I don't think that were any of y'all's radar, and most of the country probably didn't watch them, was Northwestern.
I watched 0 Northwestern football this year.
Yeah, I mean, but before the season, Pat Fitzgerald gets fired. They had a hazing incident or something along the lines of that before the season, and people forget Pat Fitzgerald put I want to say put him on the map, but he made Northwestern
relevant.
I guess you could say relevant. They were never a Big Ten contender. They were never going to beat the Michigans or Ohio States of the world, but you at least brought Northwestern. I mean, they played Ohio State competitively last year.
Yeah,
they did. They haven't. I don't think they made a bowl game the last 2 or 3 years. And I think they won 7 or 8 games. Then they beat Utah in a bowl game. So
they normally have a strong season. It's nothing impressive, but they get the bare minimum done to be relevant.
And Northwestern's been like a hell of a defensive team the last couple of years. I think they had a top 20 or 30 defense the last couple of years under Pat Fitzgerald. The new coach comes in. I can't remember his name right now, but for him to come in and to make a bowl game in his first year as the interim, I'm not quite sure if he's like. I think he may have gotten labeled as the permanent head coach of Northwestern, but what a hell of a job by that guy to bring Northwestern into a bowl game and to beat Utah and to do what he did. Another impressive team. I would say my Longhorns, but I got to say Washington. For Michael Penix to have the season he did, albeit they did struggle down the stretch, but for him to just absolutely torch Texas in the Sugar Bowl and to be dominant pretty much the whole year, beating USC, beating Oregon in the regular season, and then beating Oregon in the Pac-12 championship, throwing for 450 yards against Texas in the Sugar Bowl. Jalem Polk, Roma Dunze, Joe McMillan. I mean, what a season. I mean, they may have been a second or third odd. I mean, I think most people had Oregon or USC contending, and we'll get to USC in a minute. But feeling the board did at Washington, and that's why he got hired at Alabama. But for Washington, they made the first college football playoff. I believe 20 or second or third. But I definitely think Washington was one of the most impressive teams of college football this year.
For sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, that being said, we covered the most.
I think Spoons froze.
Just have them leave and then join back real quick.
Yeah, so we'll go around with each other right now. So with that being said, the most disappointing teams. We had there's a lot of sample out there. A lot of teams that we watch in the ACC, the SEC, Big 10, Pac-12, Big 12, Group of 5, what have you. There were some disappointing teams out there, fellas. All right, J Mark, starting with you. Give me 3 disappointing teams.
I'm going to start with Clemson. The last couple seasons, Clemson's just been going down and down and down. And they bring in, what's his name, Cade Klubenek, kid from Austin Westlake.
Yeah.
Is it Dabo's ability to?
I think Dabo has the same problem that Saban has, and if he does not get with the times, Dabo is going to be without a job because basically the way college football is moving now,
you don't think Saban was with the times?
No, Saban.
How to get to the playoffs?
He wanted nothing to do with the portal.
I think he was doing it. He was just tired of it. And
yeah, but you have to be.
I think he was paying players before it got cool. And
I think he was a little butthurt.
He didn't like it when it got legal.
He did dodge a courtesy and told him he was retiring, and so that's why they stopped making chargers. And now, the last one's driven off the lot, and Saban's retired, and there's going to be no more to give out to the kids for free.
Yeah.
I just remember when Dabo said we want to build Clemson in God's name,
NIL,
image and likeness, which
he ran that back pretty quick.
Yeah,
I just don't know what he meant by that. I really don't. I mean, what?
I don't know.
He's a Christian man.
Nothing wrong with that,
nothing wrong with it at all.
I mean, but you got to adapt to the NIL times. You have to play players now. And
I think
it seems like Dabo Sweeney refuses to do that.
It's going to change so much within the next few years too. It's going to be, the ruling, what came out, was it yesterday, that the National Labor, whatever they do, the regulation committee over labor, I guess, ruled that, Dartmouth basketball team, the men's basketball team, are technically employees.
Yeah, employees, which is
the first domino to fall in order to make basically the sports in the NCAA have a collective bargaining agreement and player representation at a union level.
The first domino with that was the Alston decision, saying that the NCAA was essentially violating antitrust in the Sherman Act. But I mean, to your point, it's all going. It's a domino chain effect spiral from here. But back to your point, Jalen, it's like they got Klubnik, they got defense.
Yeah, they got talent.
That was a good coach. I mean, it's just like you go 8-4 again.
Yeah.
In the ACC,
Well, that's like that. It's like the DJ Ugalele kid. He goes to Oregon State. He showcases DJ Ugalele.
Sorry, you're cutting out. Say that. What? Who?
DJ Ugalele.
It's close enough.
Yeah, we're good.
No, yeah, he does. I'm not disrespecting him. He goes to Oregon State and he gets to showcase his arms. He shows he can throw the ball. He had a great season in Oregon State. He even put Oregon State somewhere they haven't been in a long time. I think they were ranked in the top 25 for a while. But, it's obviously something in that program that is stopping them from getting back to where they used to be.
Yeah, Dabo's ability to adapt.
And I think
that's exactly what I said. Nobody, they did not agree.
I think if he was adaptable and was doing that, he would be at Bama right now. But that's a whole nother conversation.
They didn't want him.
That's what I'm saying. They don't want him right now. But if he was the Dabo 3-4 years ago that we thought,
if he's Deshaun's Dabo, then he gets the job.
So team 2, I'm going to say the Texas A&M Fighting Aggies. They had the number 1 recruiting class in the nation. You have all this money sitting there. It's full of oil money everywhere. You have the team. You have the recruits. You have the coaches. You have the facilities. Why can't y'all win more than 10 games?
Because Jimbo Fisher is mediocre and has been. They got bailed out by J-Mo.
That's why he got out of there.
That national championship Jimbo has under his belt, I don't say it's his.
One of my favorite things that I heard about Jimbo Fisher was, I think Paul Feinbaum said it best, was what's the difference between Jimbo Fisher and Gus Malzahn, and it's Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Where is Jimbo Fisher without Jameis Winston? I was like, that is the most on point thing I've ever heard regarding Jimbo Fisher. And I don't understand how he won a national championship at Florida State and couldn't even resemble. I mean, granted, you did win the Orange Bowl in 2020, albeit
who did play in the Orange Bowl?
A different season.
North Carolina. Let's not act stupid.
If COVID doesn't happen, Cole, do you think A&M goes to the playoff and Jimbo is still there?
What, in 2020?
Yeah.
I mean, we would have had
because y'all go undefeated in the
we lost to Bama and they won the Natty that year. So, but in hindsight, I'm kind of glad we're done with old Jimbo and moving to the modern.
You go hire his cousin.
He always kind of reminded me of the guy in the Waterboy, Farmer Fran. He's like, I mean, so damn fast you couldn't understand him. He's like he's a shrimp boat captain.
Yeah. I was gonna do my little spill whenever we got here, but I think he's a great recruiter. I mean, he was a great recruiter at Florida State. He's a good coach at Florida State. I mean, he's a good recruiter at A&M everywhere. But I mean, at some point, you got to develop it and put your players in a position to succeed, and he wasn't doing that. And
so, won't you hire him back as like a recruit coordinator?
Look, if we're hiring back old coaches, I want Florida to hire Dan Muschamp or not Muschamp.
Yeah, bring back Mac Brown. Mac Brown was a hell of a recruiter.
So, yeah. I just don't think Jimbo could keep his hand out the cookie jar and let it coach his coach. So.
Spoon, give us a team. Who do you think was one of the most,
disappointing, impressive? Which one?
Yeah, not impressive teams this
not
season.
Impressive. Gotcha. Have we talked about Notre Dame?
No, we have not said Notre Dame.
Well, they finished top 15, didn't they?
Yeah, but the thing is you're sitting there at last season.
9-3. They lost to Louisville.
Yeah.
They lost to who did they lose? Who did Notre Dame lose to?
They lost to Michigan or Ohio State. Sorry,
lost to Ohio State on that goal line play. They lost to Louisville,
and then I think they lost the next week.
I think they lost to Clemson too.
Was it Clemson?
Yes, Clemson.
I think it was Clemson.
Yeah. So it just beat them. But the hype after what's his name is there in year 2, right?
What's that?
The guy who took over for Brian Kelly. He's there in year 2. Yeah, Marcus Freeman. So he's there in year 2.
Who did he lose to his first year at Notre Dame that was like
Marshall? They lost to
Marshall, yeah.
Because I had Notre Dame by like 24 and they just lost.
If gambling was legal in the state of Texas.
You went to
which I don't. Let me clarify, we don't bet in the state of Texas. I have not bet in the state of Texas, never will bet in the state of Texas. We don't do that. It's sinful and it's shameful.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's illegal.
Immoral.
Yeah, we just bet handshakes or whatever. But
push-ups. We bet push-ups.
Yeah.
Hey, I know one thing for sure. Me and you ain't doing no push-ups. Now, if you want to go to McDonald's and get 10 plus cheeseburgers, sign us up.
We order so much they hand us the mic.
Yeah, we got proof of that.
But so they lost to Louisville. I'm running through this. They lost to Clemson and Ohio State. The Ohio State game was good, but it just kind of seemed like it was downhill after that. I mean, obviously Duke was up. They beat them by 7. Louisville trumps them by 13. And the one kind of comeback moment was USC. They beat USC handedly. But after last year, you're sitting there and you're like, this team's pretty good. And a kid like Sam Hartman coming in, who is, kind of walking around as the guy. When you look as good as he does, you got to be the guy. So, and he was at Wake Forest. But
wait, what do you mean look good?
He's got the.
Are you talking about on the field or?
No, he's talking about his appearance.
Oh, dude, Sam Hartman's a man rocket.
Pause. Okay.
Let the record show that Trey Hensley called Sam Hartman a man rocket.
It just is. So, you could appreciate good-looking men like the three of y'all. But Sam Hartman's pretty attractive. But you look at it, that's supposed to be the guy coming in. You think it immediately elevates your team to hopefully playoff status, and it just kind of, 3 losses is not going to get you anywhere near sniffing it.
I do think it was they should have beaten Ohio State.
Yeah.
They
I think
should
that
have
changed the
beaten Ohio
trajectory of the
State.
season, but they didn't.
Who did Ohio State lose to in a bowl game?
Mizzou.
Yes.
Mizzou. We just talked about that.
Yeah, one of the
Right.
craziest
Right,
games.
you got Notre Dame. Who else you got?
USC, but we touched on that.
No,
Have we touched on USC yet?
yeah.
Hey, hold on 1 second, Cole. What are you about to say?
No, I was gonna let.
No, go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say it.
I'm about to say no Gators.
We're doing 3, I thought.
Wait, no, who said USC?
I thought Jalen did, but
Did anyone say USC?
I don't remember. We talked about USC.
All right,
Yeah.
Trey, you talk as if USC had been mentioned yet.
Well, I mean, they're just a complete and utter disappointment. You have
the number 1 pick.
you have the number 1 pick. You have another guy in his second year. Isn't his second year there? Right?
Who, Lincoln?
Yeah. Is it second or third? I don't know.
That was his second year.
That's the second year. Yeah. So
Yeah, David's
it's
favorite
just-
coach.
Yeah. I mean, you come out of the gate. You're ranked what number? They're top.
You were top
5. Were they
16,
5 or 6?
17.
Yeah. And so you have all the expectations in the world of going to the playoff. And
Caleb Williams is reaching out to teams to buy a
You're-
share. Whoever drafts him.
he wants
I don't know if
equity
that
in
was
his
true.
team, which
Yes.
is just not going to happen.
I don't know if that was true, but
And to your point, Lincoln Briley brings over Alex Grinch from Oklahoma. Lincoln Riley brought his ass over to USC when Oklahoma had some of the worst defenses ever.
was he the DC at Oklahoma?
Yeah, Grinch was the DC at OU when they had some stinky defenses, and then he brings them over to USC, and they continue to be just terrible, absolutely porous. I mean, running through their ass for 250 yards on the ground, refuses to play defense. Absolutely damning that he refuses to play defense when you have one of the best generational talents that, I mean, Caleb Williams is up there with Tim Tebow, Johnny Manziel, Vince Young, Cam Newton.
Oh, you sure about that?
Maybe prospect, college career wise. I don't know if you can say that.
You can't
but
say that.
Caleb
Those guys,
Williams wins a national
those guys
on all
finished.
those teams.
Now quarterback
All those
prospect.
guys but Johnny Manziel finished.
What?
He finished.
No, he did not.
He beat Oklahoma by 40 in the Cotton Bowl. But next question.
Yeah, you don't want to talk about that because he's an Aggie.
Hey,
He went 10-2.
all I'm saying is that
year 1.
he had a
Did he lose to
generational talent.
Mississippi
Quit
State?
interrupting me, damn it.
No, he didn't.
Caleb
Stop
Williams
spreading false information.
has generational talents of the last 10 years. We can all agree on that.
Yeah.
For them to score 45, 50, 60 points a game and to win 8 games is just reprehensible.
What about that guy on the wall behind you?
What, Vince or Tiger?
Vince. Both
What
of them,
about
both winners.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is 10 years. That was 2005. That was almost 20 years ago now. So
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
getting
But-
old.
he is like one of the most highly touted college prospects. Like people have been saying since Andrew Luck, I think is the realm he's thrown around in.
Joe
Yeah,
Burrow.
prospect wise, but like college career wise, no, I wouldn't.
College career wise, it's not even close. I mean, I can rattle off 5 that are better than him in a heartbeat. It just
Who,
he's
Vince or Caleb?
Caleb.
Caleb.
I was going to say 5
No,
better.
David about to go off.
There's probably
I can name 5.
10
but
better than
we'll
Vince.
say that.
10 better than Vince?
Yeah.
Name me one better than Vince.
Tebow, Cam Newton. I mean
Tebow
Yeah,
better than Vince Young?
yeah. Heisman, 2 natties. I mean,
I can't agree with that.
He didn't even start for that one national championship. He was just a goal line package dude.
hey, he started the jump pass, so that's all that matters. Anyway,
Oh, he started the jump pass. He started the jump pass. He started the jump pass.
To my number 3 most disappointing team is the Florida Gators. If we're on the topic now,
Go on. Go on.
It was.
You came after me. I'm coming after you.
It was terrible.
Terrible.
From the
Terrible.
play calling, it just like. Granted, the one thing I'll give them is I think percentage wise and snaps played or whatever. It was some weird stat. but they started the most freshmen on either side of the ball, did more than any other team in the country, which maybe helps because I looked at this stat today, or ESPN put out a ranking of the most production level coming back to a school.
Number one in the SEC was?
No one cares about the number one in the list was Virginia Tech. So congratulations.
Well, if you're bringing right behind them, I'm gonna bring it up. So
who's the number one team?
It's like SEC? Virginia Tech.
In the SEC, it's A&M.
SEC.
It's A&M. Okay.
Virginia. How are we on Virginia Tech now?
But
we're on a college football podcast. People might.
Yeah, Florida was top 20, and so that is the one lone bright spot, plus the recruiting class and having the number one quarterback in the class coming in. But probably not playing with Graham Mertz, which was kind of the only highlight of the offense, him and Ricky Pearsall. But the special teams, we need a special teams coordinator. And as you like to call him, Sunbelt Billy, doesn't need to call offensive plays anymore. He's an offensive coordinator. Similar. He needs to be the Ed Orgeron of Florida. He needs to be the CEO, but never in charge of anything. He just needs to recruit, sit there and say, "Go Tigers." That's it. He just
Gators.
Pop his hands and leave it alone. And it's frustrating because obviously he's recruiting at a high level, not as high as it was at the beginning of this recruiting class. It came out at number 1 and finished, I think, at like 11th. But there's some highlights in there that should have immediate effects with the number 1 defensive lineman in the country. Hopefully that is a huge gash that they have. And the offensive line, which we missed out on the number 1.
What's that big boy's name y'all got?
Yeah, you've got an absolute lard ass playing defensive tackle. He's
like, what's his name?
That ragdolls people. You haven't seen that video of him tackling the guy from South Florida?
Yes.
That's okay. Just run jet sweeps and tire his ass out.
Yeah. Hey, he only plays in, he's got a snap count. Because
I bet he does.
I would hope so. I would hope so.
How big is that? How big is he?
He's like 6'5", 420.
420.
420. I think it's like 420. It's ridiculous.
You got him.
He's large.
Do you think he can out-eat us?
Yes.
I think he'd probably eat Trey in 3 bites.
Probably. But
Florida eyes like a drumstick.
Florida was one of my most disappointing teams. 5-7 is unacceptable. And there's a guy from Barstool, Brandon Walker. He said we made a huge mistake firing Will Muschamp, Dan Mullen, and
you did.
We might. We had, like you said, we're talking about quarterback prospects. Anthony Richardson last year, and one of the best developer of quarterbacks ever. I mean, he got Alex Smith to Alex Smith. He got Dak Prescott to Dak Prescott. He was at Utah with Alex Smith.
Yeah.
And Urban. Yeah. And then he went to Florida and he made Tim Tebow relevant. And then he went to Mississippi State.
Made Dak relevant.
I like Dan Mullen.
I do too. But he's not near as good a recruiter. Did he care as much? No. But he was a hell of an offensive coordinator. He you know who owns the first number 1 ranking in college football playoff history?
Mississippi State.
Dan Mullen.
Dak Prescott that 1 year.
I'm against Dan Mullen.
Dan Mullen.
Yeah.
Dan Mullen.
Is that multiple choice?
But so Florida stinks, and hopefully they're better.
Hey, all that to come to Austin next November and just get absolutely dog walked by the Longhorns.
We'll see. Like, if we maybe get big enough, we'll go live from the game because
David, you'll be there, right?
I'll be there. I'm a Horn man. I'm gonna go to every game. I'm gonna go to Georgia. I'm gonna go to Florida. I don't know if I can game at Kyle Field, but we'll get that later.
Is Live from the Pines paying that well?
I don't know. I can't disclose my salary from Live from the Pines right now. I can't really disclose that to the public. It's a privately held company. So I guess that leaves me. Everybody's gone about most of this point.
No, I haven't gone.
All right, you go ahead. You go ahead, Cole.
Well, we pretty much talked about all of them. So number 1, I got USC. Number 2, I got A&M, and then I'm gonna switch it up, and so I'm gonna say Tennessee as well. But I'm gonna put Tennessee on there because I think at one point they were number 1 last year at one point, and they were bringing back Joe Milton. Yeah. They were number 1 at one point 2 seasons ago, I guess.
But Joe Milton can throw it like 70 yards.
Did lose Hendon Hooker. Did lose Jalen Hyatt, but still.
But they were kind of propping up Milton like he was going to be Hendon Hooker, like he could just step in there and
And you can't blame him. You can't blame him after the way he played in the Orange Bowl against Clemson. I mean, he really played well and dropped some bombs for Clemson. Really albeit, we just talked about Clemson and kind of how Klubnik's been disappointing and the way Clemson.
I don't think he's been disappointing. I don't think he's in the right offense.
He's been underwhelming.
Yeah, I don't think he's been disappointed. I just don't think he's like, he's not playing the game he's used to playing. He played at Austin Westlake. He aired the field out. He had a big guy, Jaden Grayhouse, plays at Notre Dame. So I think that he still has a chance. I just think that we have to get the guys around him that he needs to win.
So back to Tennessee, I thought that was pretty disappointing. USC and then obviously A&M. I mean, Jalen hopped on that one pretty quick, but we can just the expectation and talent we have, kind of the same old story we heard with Jimbo. But we brought in an OC. Bobby Petrino was sold that he was going to be able to use his whole offense. I think he was calling plays, but I don't think the terminology and plays that he was calling were any different. So if my personal list of what affected me the most, A&M's number one, and nobody's close. But that's my list.
You should have just put him in a neck brace. He probably would have called a better game.
Maybe. Him Harley, but he's back in Arkansas now, so he might have one.
What do you got, Daddy?
Well, I don't want to. I do have a team that overlaps with one of the teams y'all just mentioned, but I kind of want to bring a team out of the Big 12 that had a great year last year, advanced to the national championship until they got mollywopped by Georgia, and that's TCU. I mean, they went 12-1, lost in the Big 12 championship, made the playoff, beat Michigan, lost in the national championship to Georgia, and then they don't make a bowl game.
They opened the season up against Colorado, right?
What?
They opened the season against Colorado, right?
Opened the season against Colorado, lost to Dion by 3.
You know where me and Trey watched that game at?
Where?
In a tire shop in Kirbyville or Kuntz, Texas, on the way to the beach.
Yep.
Over in southeast Texas, over near Beaumont.
Yeah, we were pulling my buggy to the beach. Had a tire that.
We were on the south side of St. Augustine.
No.
Well, that's all good and well, but TCU was a very disappointing team. Going 5-7 this year. You had Chandler Morris starting the year. I think they had a different quarterback later in the year. But to not make a bowl game the year after you make it to the national, I understand they lost Max Duggan, Quentin Johnson, Kendre Miller. They lost a lot of guys on defense.
So, like their whole offense?
I mean, but to just not make a bowl game.
Yeah, it's pretty big drop off.
Is it year 3? This will be year 3 upcoming with Sonny Dykes. I don't know. But regardless, to not make a bowl game after what you did in 2022, I thought was disappointing. Another team I have on there is LSU, kind of in the same breadth as USC, to have a total dynamic playmaker in Jaden Daniels, analogous to Caleb Williams, and to play just stellar offense and average over 500 yards a game, and to lose, what'd they go, 9-3?
Yeah.
9-3. And it's like if you had a top, I bet they didn't have a top 80 or 75 defense. Like you have a top 50, top 30 defense. You probably make it to the SEC championship game. And
y'all played them pretty strong, didn't y'all?
Yeah, I think it was a 1-score game most of the last year of the game. Last game of the year with Elijah, our intern coach on.
Yeah, I'm saying like if they would have made it to the SEC championship game with a average defense, I think they probably could have beaten Georgia. I mean, Alabama had a much, much better defense than they had, but I think they had their offense was much better than Alabama's, given Milroad's kind of inconsistencies, throughout the season. And we saw that in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
I thought LSU kind of like I previously said with Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams, just it feels like it's wasted talent. You have 2 Heisman Trophy winners, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and you have stellar offenses, very prolific offenses, and you can't even make it to the college football playoff with them. I thought that was disappointing.
I'm not sold on Brian Kelly in Baton Rouge.
But he's got a fake
ever since
Southern
he faked that Southern accent.
Yeah, I saw that accent.
Trey just said that. Yeah,
I've never been a Brian Kelly fan. I just don't think LSU fits him. I think you have a hard time recruiting there because how long was he at Notre Dame for?
A while.
Well, he went from
Well, at least-
Cincinnati to Notre Dame.
6 years, 8 years.
I don't know why
He went to Notre Dame after the 2009 season because Cincinnati was up there in the BCS in the top 5 the year we went to the national championship. It was like the Boise State Cincinnati year. And I think he got nabbed from Cincinnati to go to Notre Dame. So he was there for like maybe 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's from like Mass, and it's probably a little hard to relate. I mean, the recruiting pictures that are now banned were bad. The little swinging thing that goes around the thing you stand on was just even worse. I don't know. Ever since what was the national championship game that they put Notre Dame in? And Alabama,
when they got dog walked,
mollywopped.
Yeah, because like Alabama was number 2 in the country, and they were favored by like 10.
Mm-hmm.
It's a massive spread for the national championship.
It was ever since then. I had zero faith in Brian Kelly.
Do you think
I think Alabama was going to roll him?
I think he's a good coach because I mean they won the SEC West in year 1, but like I don't think
is that because of Brian? I think that's more because of it's LSU.
I mean, you could argue that, but I mean,
LSU.
I do agree that I didn't think it was a fit for LSU, but we'll see. And it's weird to see this offense being it's an offensive team whenever we've been grown accustomed to LSU under Les Miles at Orgeron being mostly a defensive power and kind of running the ball on offense.
Where is Les Miles?
I mean, Ed O. I mean that
he had Joe.
offense
He had Burrow. Yeah, he had Burrow.
Pretty prolific.
Mostly Les Miles.
I wouldn't really call him a coach. Like I said,
where is Les Miles?
CEO.
He was at Kansas, but he got in trouble, so I don't think he's coaching anymore.
I think he's like announcing on ESPN, isn't he? They're not announcing, but like on the
collecting a check.
College football scoreboard, whatever.
He's chewing on grass somewhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, with that being said, my last disappointing team I thought was North Carolina.
You just can't let go of Mac Brown, huh?
Yeah, it's all about the kids, you know. It's all I miss being in the Big 12. We had Vince Young, and he was just. I mean, what can I say about Vince? Anyway, when you got Drake May, who's going to be a top
2-3 pick.
Well, conservatively, we'll say a top 10 pick. You know,
he's going to be the second quarterback off the board.
And there's going to be like Williams 4 taken in the first 5
Is it Williams then May or Williams Daniels May?
It's
Williams May.
Williams May. Okay.
Even though Daniels won the Heisman, you think?
Yes.
Well, we'll get to that in a later show. But I thought that was disappointing. With they brought back Drake May, they brought back good receivers on offense, and they just went.
Hey, they got Max Johnson now.
And they've got Gene Chizik, who is a Mac Brown guy. He was our DC when we won the national title in 2005, and they just are so bad defensively. Losing to NC State, losing to Virginia as a 24 or 27 point favorite. Losing to Virginia, that's like losing to Kansas. I mean, that is reprehensible.
You know a lot about that.
Yeah, I do know a lot about that. I saw it once in college, and I went to the basement, but and I saw it during Sarkeesian and went to but I thought, I mean, I really thought that North Carolina could win the ACC this year.
Mm-hmm.
Really did. I mean, but you lose to Virginia as a 24-point favorite with Drake May, a top 10 quarterback prospect. You lose to NC State 2 years in a row. Granted, they kind of blew it last year. They also lost to who did they lose to? Not Syracuse. I don't know. But regardless, to go 8-4 with Drake May and to just have a stinky defense again, disappointing.
I agree.
They're a basketball school.
Yeah, well, they did beat Duke the other night, so that's good. But all right, well, I guess that brings us to our next topic. All right, move on.
Let's roll.
Yep. All right. So what do you want to talk about next? Coaches on the hot seat, or you want to do the transfer portal?
Let's just put both of them in one.
Oh, well, I guess you can combine the two. All right, we'll go reverse circle.
Let's go new hires or something.
New hires. You got new hires.
Yeah.
All right. So obviously, I think the one that most of our listeners want to listen to is, and most of them are probably A&M fans, and hopefully.
Let's hear it, Cole.
But Cole, I'm going to defer to you. after 6 years, or I think it was 6 years of Jimbo
It was
the
6.
Jimbo Fisher experience, if you will, pays him $75 million.
Over 8 years. We only gave him 28.
I'm sorry.
28 million dollars live from the Pines will never see me again.
And then installments, either monthly or quarterly or annually for the next X amount of years.
Anyways, he's gone.
You get rid of Jimbo Fisher. And it's awful. Let me point this out to our listeners, how awful you treated former Texas A&M head coach Mark Stoops. He would have been a great hire.
How long was he a head coach for?
Championships.
About 4 hours, 3 hours.
Yes, former Texas A&M head coach Mark Stoops.
When was he there?
You don't remember that day they released it on Twitter?
Well, it was like rumor.
When was he in Texas?
Texas A&M.
It's A&M.
Oh, okay.
Hell no, we wouldn't touch a Stoops with a 10-foot pole. We tried to hire Mark Stoops under Sark, and the fan base revolted. To our credit, but it's kind of what the A&M fan base did. I remember seeing it. They hired Mark Stoops, and
it came out at like 9:00, and then at midnight they were like, probably not.
Yeah, it was Thanksgiving. I was with my family, and I was like, "Dad, they hired Mark Stoops," and Fred's just over there laughing.
I thought that would have been a better hire.
I did too. And
we'll let Cole
people shit on Mark Stoops.
Let's hear what Cole has to say about Elko. Let's hear
Cole, the floor is yours. Go ahead, brother.
What does Elko have to offer?
So, I mean,
like $8 million to his assistants.
No, it was like 15, I think. But
okay.
I mean, ever since Elko went to Duke, I mean, you saw a little drop off after 2020. After 2021, 2022, we went 5-7, and then 7-5 after we replaced him with Durkin. And then year one, he took a 3-win Duke team to 9 wins in their first year. And then was rolling pretty good in year 2 until Riley Leonard got hurt, who is also transferring to Notre Dame, who we play week 1. So that would be pretty interesting. But, I mean, the most thing I'm excited for is just bringing a modern approach and not being stuck in his old ways like Jimbo was. It's kind of the opposite, and he's going to let his coaches coach. I think he's got a pretty good staff he's assembling with Colin Klein. I know David's a little skeptical on that one. Even though they put up 30+ with against Texas both times. But
hey, State also hasn't beaten Texas since Obama was in office, so
they should have beat y'all that one last year, but
they didn't.
It was 5 yards. But anyway, I think he's got a pretty good staff going. I like the hires. So I think we've missed his scheming on defense. I think Durkin was solid, but his 3-4 multiple defense, I didn't rock with it, especially with the personnel we had on the D-line. I mean, rolling a 3-man D-line out there, just I didn't really agree with it. So getting back to that, and I think he brings some structure. I think Jimbo was kind of losing it from what I've read. And he also, one hire I really like that's kind of under talked about is the strength and conditioning coach, Tommy Moffitt, who we brought over from LSU, who's with Saban, Les Miles, and Ed O for all 3 national championships.
Is that the bald
guy? I don't think he's bald, but he was there for all 3 national championships, and Brian Kelly brought his own guy over from Notre Dame whenever he did that, and LSU fans weren't too happy about that. So I'm glad about that. I think I'm glad for a new look, and I'm excited to see what happens, man. I think
there's the one thing I have heard about A&M that has been interesting is the strength and conditioning coach. They're in charge of nutrition and whatnot. I will say I heard it from a very, very hardcore Texas fan that isn't on this podcast, but his nickname is Cutter. And he said the problem with this last round of A&M's guys and why the defense was so bad was because they were literally farting too much. The strength and conditioning coach that was there messed up their gassy. Yeah, they were extremely gassy to the point where they were uncomfortable on the field.
Wait, are you being serious?
Swear to God.
Yeah, that's the actual thing. I saw that too.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. But
now it might have been just on the message boards of like the Horns, whatever they call it. Probably not down because that'll make everybody cry. But Yeah, they said that the
Well, I
the
mean,
strength and
I'm,
conditioning coach
I'm googling that right now.
made them too
yeah,
gassy.
I don't know about that one, but
I did hear it from a Texas fan, so
I mean, take it with a
you
grain of
take it with a
salt.
grain of salt. But you know,
it's true.
You can't trust Texas fans. You just can't.
It says right here.
He sees one Google search.
Hey,
It says
Jalen's
not-
looking at it.
It says not many people know this. Texas A&M has hired a new nutrition coordinator, and they utilize grains much more than protein. The theory is that by eating more grains, then the players
Is
will
this a
have
message
more
board
stamina.
rumor or is this an
The
actual?
problem is what they are ingesting causes gas, and it's not typical everyday gas.
That's got to help the pass rush, though. That's got to help you get off the line in scrimmage. I mean,
Hey,
get a little
listen,
quick burst.
the
burst.
title
It helps
is
you start
the
run.
bull rush, man.
The
Yeah.
title is gas problems at A&M, and I'm not.
We'll have to fact check that and
That's the
get back
first
to y'all.
gas problem they've ever had.
It says I'm not talking oil.
Yeah.
But back to that, I think we had Gene Schmidt, who was a longtime OU strength and conditioning coach, but he went back whenever what's his name just got hired there. And we that was after the
Bjork.
20.
Bjork.
Oh yeah.
Ross Bjork?
No, what's the Oklahoma head coach right now?
The defensive coordinator for
Venables.
Clemson.
Yeah, Gene Schmidt went back with Venables.
I thought you were talking about Ross Bjork taking over Gene Smith at Ohio State.
No,
Yeah.
Gene Schmidt was a longtime strength and conditioning coach for OU.
Oh, Schmidt.
With,
Same guy but the same name, I guess.
Yeah. But and we talk about Ross Bjork, who the guy responsible for Mark Stoops, David's favorite A&M head coach, is also out the door. So we're also getting an AD.
He's going to Ohio State, isn't he?
No,
Y'all
we
should hire
not
the
have kept
Florida.
him. He made the worst extension in college football history. So
Hire the Florida AD. I think he's looking at the job, or was the front runner.
Or?
No, swear to God, take him.
I don't want somebody that you just want to give to me.
Well,
Ohio State, right?
The old Florida AD is now the commissioner of the SEC. So Scott Strickland.
We got a D-line coach and linebackers coach from Florida too. Talking about that, but
what do y'all think about DeBoer?
I think
I'm intrigued.
I don't know, and I don't know if this is just rumors or it was the actual agent.
Another rumor
that did it.
Is it too? Is he too? Did he say they were too gassy?
No, he didn't say it was too gassy. I don't know if it was actually the agent leveraging the situation to get everybody else paid, including DeBoer. But out of the top 3 that were available, I don't think he was 1 or 2. I think Dan Lanning was.
He was Lanning first,
but I don't think Lanning was available.
He took an interview. I'm pretty sure.
No,
they've been so
big buyout. I think that was the holdup with him. I think you don't turn down Bama unless.
Well, apparently
I would turn down Bama.
Because when A&M was looking at him,
I guess it depends on your style, man. Like if you're at Oregon, you got the Nike swag, you got the Nike money. Oregon.
Apparently, there's some Phil Knight buyout with Nike that's even added to it that people aren't willing to pay. So that's also.
I mean, let's not get it twisted. Like Oregon's a sick school,
especially with a 12-team playoff coming. It's an even better school.
They're going to be right there in it every year.
And I mean, prior 2 coaches have left, so they're probably not going to let him. They're not going to let him go.
I mean, Mario Cristobal waltzed out that door. But DeBoer. Short answer: he's gone in 3 years. Long answer: wish it was longer. And he has won everywhere he's been. Granted, it's been like North Dakota or some BFE place like that. And so he's proven he's proven that he can win. So it's worth the shot. Obviously, with what he did with Washington, but like again, it was a lot of what I thought was Penix in the offense. So if he can complete a team down there, which I think it'll be a little bit easier at Bama, but I think Bama's used to success, used to winning.
So you think
it's gonna be really hard to sit there and let him do his thing for over 2.5, 3 years.
So you think 3 years out, then they go get Kiffin?
I think it's 3 years out and they figure it out at that point. Kiffin, who knows?
What has to happen for that to happen? I hate to.
He has to he has to be considered for a playoff after year 3.
So you're saying they won't make the playoff?
No.
You don't think they're going to make the playoff in the 12-team
playoff?
Bama doesn't make the playoff?
No.
What?
I think Bama
Yes,
makes it.
absolutely they do. Absolutely.
Nine
Alabama makes the playoff.
and 3 Alabama. Think about who else is in the SEC.
I don't know about
You
absolutely,
could
At
be an
that point.
11 seed. You could be a 10 seed.
but there's 5 automatic bids, right?
Yeah, there's 5 automatic bids.
Why 5?
I don't
Power
because
5.
Power
Or Power
5.
4. Yeah.
What
Ten-
Power
ten-
5?
no, there's
Pac-12's
Power
not
4
here.
now.
Well, yeah, Power 4 and at large bid, so there's 5. The best group of 5 team gets a bid. I don't think they make the playoff if they finish 9-3. If they finish 9-3, they probably lost to Texas. I don't think they make the playoff.
I
I
wholeheartedly
think they make the playoffs.
If they finish 9-3, you're telling me there's not 3 other better teams in the SEC?
It's hard to
I'm
keep
not
Bama.
saying- I'm
It's
not
hard to
saying
keep
that.
Bama out.
I just think that they would beat out, like, say you have like a 9-3 Air Force or a 10-2
9-3 Air Force.
Yeah, but
Cincinnati.
if you have a 10-2 Alabama and 11-1 Penn State gets in over Bama.
I think that there needs to be some context around that. Are we talking about the 11 and 12 seeds? Are we talking about
Like Penn State loses to Ohio State.
like
Or
we have
Michigan,
2 spots
sorry.
left or 1 spot left? Is it 10-2 Bama or 11-1 Penn State? Well, 11-1 Penn State would probably be like 6 or 7 at that point.
No, they wouldn't have made the conference championship game. They'd
But
be sitting
they
on the
would
outside
be-
looking
they
in.
would be-
The
they
two
would be
teams.
kind of like the first out. You know, kind of like in terms of the March Madness bubble, like you'd have the Big Ten champion, then you have like Ohio State or Michigan placeholder. and
I
then you
don't
have-
think the thing is when Nick Saban walks out the door, the allure of Bama kind of goes with it.
I don't know about that, Trey. Willie still.
I mean, I think
Anybody born in the last 20 years doesn't give a flying fadoodle about Bear Bryant or whatever he did or wore.
we
So,
care about Willie.
you're right.
They think about Nick Saban and he's not there, just like exactly what happened. I mean, half of their recruiting class walked out the door that was there early. Julian Shane was the number 2 quarterback out of the class. He waltzed out.
That.
They're bringing a 4-star guy that's like 6'7" with DeBoer from Washington.
I don't understand that. Where did Julian go?
I don't know yet.
He
I
went
don't
to
know if he's
Notre
made a
Dame.
Ohio
decision.
State, I think.
Ohio State. Yeah, you went to Ohio State.
Yeah. So I don't think they make the playoff in the next 3 years, and then I think DeBoer's gone because we just don't have the patience anymore. The one place that has that is Florida State, and it's paid off. I mean, they made the playoff.
So you think that
Trey's
say
still
he
on this.
goes 10-2, 9-3. What is the temperature on his seat after that?
If he goes 10-2 next year,
10-2, 9-3, 9-3, 10-2.
I think it's pretty good.
Not over 4 years, but interchangeably between year 1 and year 2.
I think it's okay, but the problem is doing that again. It's really going to light the fire. So,
I don't know. I think he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be fine.
I mean, my thing is, I think his biggest challenge is trying to, I think Bama fans are going to expect him to make Milroe into a solid pocket passer.
I think he can do it.
Well, they just saw what Penix did against Texas and against the Pac-12 and throwing the ball over the yard to Odunze, to Polk, to McMillan. Can he make Milroe be that guy? And you look at the departures from Isaiah Bond, Amari Niblack, they both go to the Longhorns. Not toot my own horn, but it's just a reality. Lose some of the receiving core. They do have Ryan Williams coming in as a true freshman. Maybe he can make us.
Yeah, he said he wasn't going anywhere. Maybe
he can make us some of the production there. But last year we talked about this in private that Alabama had to adapt with Jalen Milroe, with Tommy Rees and Nick Saban having to realize that he doesn't have the purest passer in the league that he did.
Which I do think he did start. I mean, he looked a lot better. After
He did.
I mean,
beginning part of the season,
he did lose to Texas, albeit early in the season.
I mean, he lit our ass. He lit our ass up.
Saban was used to Tua could put the ball anywhere he needed it put.
I mean, Milroe was erratic at times. Maybe not have been the most poised.
Yeah, he didn't make the smartest decision.
When the pocket collapsed, he tended to run. make plays on his feet, and sometimes you have to do that. I mean, we saw that with Jalen Hurts, and we saw that. Well, I guess we didn't see that other than Jalen Hurts with Nick Saban. But his biggest task is trying to mold Jalen Milroe into a pocket passer. Can he do that? Remains to be seen. Do I think he can do that? Yes. I think he's going to bring some new passing patterns. I think he's going to bring in some new philosophies that maybe Saban may not have been open to. I think that I haven't looked at their schedule. I know they do play Oklahoma away. They don't play Texas A&M. They don't play Texas. They do play Georgia though.
Yeah, they play Georgia.
Do they play?
They play Florida. They play Florida, don't they?
No.
I'm going to go ahead and chalk the Georgia game up as a loss. I'm going to go ahead and
Thank you.
They probably play LSU in Death Valley. I think 10-2 may be the floor.
I'm intrigued by DeBoer. I really liked his offense at Washington. I mean, he's won everywhere. I mean, taking Washington team to the national championship in year 2. You can't say just that he did it at Washington in year 2.
Please spell that.
I think one of the big questions is that Saban is one of the greatest defensive minds we've had in the modern era, and can Kalen DeBoer keep the defense consistent the way Saban did?
That's what I was going to say. Off the top of my head, I don't know who they hired at defense coordinator, but
because the defenses under Saban were
pretty sure he brought the Washington guy with him.
But I think we all forget Saban is going to have his hands on this team still.
No,
not coaching wise. Maybe he'll walk in the building and say,
"What's his wife? What's his wife?
Wise, not X's and O's wise. I don't think. Maybe he's like a consultant.
He's going to do whatever his wife says. He's going to be
playing. Might do some recruiting.
He is checked out.
Do you think you could beat Saban
in golf?
Yes.
I'm the club champ for a reason. So the next of the new hires is I think we need to talk about Jedd Fisch replacing DeBoer.
Yeah.
I think I'm kind of jealous of Washington because I think you want it? Let me just say this. I wish he left next year because he would be going to Florida because he's from Florida, played at Florida. And Billy Napier probably won't survive next year. Yeah. Or it was a coach. I don't know. One of the things, he's connected to Florida. Wish he was going there. But David, take the floor.
I think that Washington is if I remember correctly, they play Michigan and Penn State. I don't think they play Ohio State, but I think they're I will say 9-3 at the absolute ceiling. I think 8-4 is more likely. I mean, you look at who they've lost in the portal. They lost Jabbar Muhammad to the portal to Oregon. They lost another tight end to A&M. They have absolutely been just.
They lost their safety to Florida.
They have lost so many people in the portal, which is going to happen. Which is
lost Muhammad to
portal rules. Now that when coaches leave, you have a 30-day window to transfer.
I don't like that.
I love it.
Maybe
the coaches can do whatever they want.
That's for
I think 30 days is too long. I think you should get 15 days, make your decision. I think was it the offensive lineman or defensive lineman in Alabama? Like he basically said, like, if you want to leave, like we don't want you anymore.
Well, I mean, besides the point, it's just like Washington has been pillaged in the portal. And I think maybe if they had stayed in the Pac-12, say the Pac-12 hadn't dissolved, with the USCs and UCLAs and Oregon, and obviously Washington going to the Big Ten, I think maybe they could have gone like a 10-2, 11-1, 12-0 possibly. But I think going into the Big Ten, I just think that, and although they did keep Will Rogers at Washington after he transferred Mississippi State, Mike Leach.
He's staying at Washington?
He is. He was a Mike Leach guy at Mississippi State. Played there 3 or 4 or 5 years, maybe. Transfers to Washington. I mean, gunslinger of a quarterback, kind of like a Penix was, who was throwing it all over the yard. Interested to see whether Fisch keeps that, high octane passing attack that DeBoer had. Probably not. I imagine there would be a more balanced attack, but I just feel like that Washington is not personnel-wise equipped to go into the Big Ten.
I think there's going to be a little drop-off.
I think they've lost – I think a majority of their offensive line is going to the NFL. I think they loaded a lot of guys through the portal into the NFL on defense. I just think that this is not the right timing for them. And things happen. I mean, coaches leave. I think Aiden Fuller. I just think that it's hard to overcome personnel changes like that.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Did you see they hired Bill Belichick's son for defense coordinator as well today?
Did they really?
Yeah.
So he's coming from the Patriots under the Belichick tree.
I think there's going to be a little rude awakening.
Their defense wasn't great. I think they may have had a worse pass defense than Texas, and I mean Texas had a pretty bad pass defense.
Easy. Let's not go there.
I mean they did, but I mean
you don't want to bring up the liability.
Their defense wasn't world beaters.
Go there.
They weren't gonna what?
The liability at safety.
Come on now, come on.
I don't know, but that's what I think. So
that's strike two.
So free to open up to any other guys about Jedd Fisch.
I was pretty intrigued by him. I mean, I think he was one of the finalists in the A&M job too, but just kind of that's why I read up on him because I think he came from the Patriots. He was on the Patriots for a while, and then I think he was under Lane Kiffin maybe or somebody else. So I think he's intriguing. So I mean,
I think I saw a picture. He was under David last night.
What?
No.
What'd you say to me?
I like the Jedd Fisch hire. I think it's probably the best they could get in the circumstance. I don't think it's. I don't know. I mean, I relate it to Gary Patterson kind of making the jump. Was he Boise State to there? Had success there. Ended up having
Gary
success
Patterson?
at Washington. Yeah.
No, Peterson, Chris Peterson.
Gary Patterson's the guy at Texas.
TCU.
TCU.
He left Texas, didn't he?
Yeah, he was an analyst for us for a year, maybe 2 years, and then he's just
retired.
The coaching money he made. But I digress.
Yeah. But the next one, do we want to talk about Sharon Moore at all? And the kind of big shoes he's got to fill.
He's got a lot to worry about right now.
What's he got to worry about?
Their staff's leaving.
Yeah, everything coming their way.
Yeah.
I think we'll see some more portal. I mean, they haven't really lost a lot of people, but I think we'll see that maybe in the spring window because, I mean, by this time, a lot of people have already added all their portal. And there's like
they lost McCarthy. I think Corum's going to the draft, right?
Yeah.
That other running back though is coming back.
Roman Wilson's gone.
I think offensive wise, they'll probably bring back people, but their DC left and their D-line coach to the Chargers. So,
do you think they have sanctions headed their way?
Yeah.
Well, like any good quarterback that's won a national championship and left, probably.
That's true.
Yeah. I think he's got a long uphill battle to fight because Jim Harbaugh, all he's done is win wherever he wins, and he goes out on a high note with a natty. I think they do have that really good linebacker that's coming back. I think the other running back, God, everybody knows the Corum guy, but I can't remember the other guy's name. I think he's coming back.
They got that guy. They got the kid from Longview.
They did seem very old. He went to Oklahoma.
Yeah, Tatum went to Oklahoma.
I thought he was going to Michigan.
But I think they were old. That's what made them good. I mean, McCarthy has the best winning percentage out of a minimum, 40 college games played, and there's only 7 quarterbacks that have ever done that. But it's Corum's gone, McCarthy's gone.
He's so mid.
Yes, but
handoff specialist.
You talk about game managers, as I said earlier. I mean, he did what he had to do to win, and that's all that matters.
So you're calling him Brock Purdy?
You win, everything else.
He's AJ McCarron 2.0.
Who's who?
I would say more Greg McElroy because he was not near as athletic.
Hey, we do not talk about Southlake.
Right. Well,
only 20 years though.
Yeah, we talk about Quinn Ewers.
What
I think David is getting lit up there.
what
I'm gonna have screenshot
Sponsored by
that.
Maker's Mark, the official drink of myself.
what about on the opposite end of the spectrums? The guys maybe on the way out. Who do we think's on the hot seat coming up this year?
Do you want to start this one out with
I mean, I've already said it. Billy Napier's got to figure it out. The schedule is awful. But if he doesn't,
Bathroom break real quick, but I do have something to say about Napier.
I'm going to say Dabo.
I like Dabo too.
I would say Sam Pittman and David Randa. I think is Baylor's coach and Arkansas.
I think Aranda can fly under the radar. I do see Pittman. Pittman being, I mean, Petrino's back. If the offense performs, like KJ Jefferson's gone because whatever. Which, by the way, I think if you played against Joe Burrow at one point in college, at this point, you shouldn't be able to play college football anymore.
Where did he transfer to?
I have no idea. I probably like.
Who'd you say?
Like
KJ Jefferson.
UCF or something.
Yeah,
I think it was UCF.
Was it? Okay. It was
Florida Atlantic, maybe? I don't know.
No.
Probably Florida International. Who knows?
No, he's going to it's UCF.
UCF. Yeah, okay.
He's
like
22 years old.
He played against Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. But the kid was born in 2001.
Who did? Who played against Burrow?
KJ Jefferson. That's a large
Jefferson.
That's a large man. He weighs 250.
Can you quit just reading his Wikipedia page? Yeah.
Pittman does not weigh 250. He weighs 220.
No. Has anybody ever seen that picture of Pittman?
You may fall into his orbit.
Yeah, that picture of Pittman playing at Arkansas, like in the spring game, he was injured. He dressed out, but he's sitting on the sideline drinking a Coors Light. It could be the coolest picture ever if he was a good coach, but now it's not. That's why I've never seen it.
You could pick up Michelob Ultra, advertisement. That's like the lighter,
low carb, lighter.
Like that.
You think Aranda, if he underperforms this year? I mean, what is underperforming for Baylor? I mean, he had a team.
He went to
his first year.
Baylor went.
He went to the Big 12 championship in year one, right?
He went to the Big 12 championship. 2021.
That was his first year.
2021, they beat Oklahoma State, won the Big 12. I think they beat Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah,
and then they went
it just fell off.
Baylor was They were scrappy.
Then they went 8-4, 7-5, maybe, and then they didn't make a bowl. So they've progressively regressed. They went 4-8, maybe.
I mean, he's got to at least win 6 games. I think
it's like he has to have an A&M season.
I would say 7 games is the absolute floor in the regular season. Not going 6. I mean, I don't.
I mean, I would see like a GJ Kinney that go in there if they fired Aranda.
I think that's a good point, Cole. I think GJ Kinney would be a great hire, or a Jeff Traylor from UTSA going.
He needs a chance. I still think A&M made the worst.
No one else hired him. No one interviewed him. So
I still think A&M made the worst mistake not hired him. He can recruit the state of Texas.
Okay, everybody can. He's a high school coach.
He has proven to be a winner. He has a hell of an offense. He just got dimmer hairs.
Do we think Lincoln Riley
is on the
hot seat?
Yeah, what are
those bands? Hey,
but,
still in the parking garages in College Station, Cole?
Yeah, no, we are free of that.
But I mean,
nobody else
sneak on there.
Yes.
At Baylor?
No, at the hot seat.
At the hot seat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if he goes out and has a
seat, my bad.
If he has a season like he did last year, he will be going. But you know what he'll do? He will leave before they get rid of him.
But I wanted to.
He does have unlimited use of the jet. That's what influenced his decision. So he could just leave.
Really?
I wanted to address Trey's point very briefly. He mentioned Napier before I went and took a piss break, for lack of the better word.
Peasy?
Exactly, a little peasy. But Florida plays Murderers Row at the end of the year. They play
last 5 games. I think they
play Georgia, Texas,
game,
Ole Miss, LSU,
Texas, Ole Miss at home.
LSU
at home at Florida State.
I don't know if Billy makes it to that.
I think we both agree that if Florida doesn't make a bowl game this year, he's gone.
Yes.
There's a very fine line in the games between 6 and 7-5. I think 7-5 shows that we beat one of those teams in there, or earlier in the year.
You got to beat one big. You got to win one of those big games.
I think the most potential is probably LSU, given they won't have the Heisman Trophy when you're back.
Who are they going to play at quarterback?
And
Florida State too. Florida State. They got to reload a lot. So I the opportunity's there. I think in reality, with where the team is, and still, Napier starting to get his kids in, 8-4 is a win. Yeah. But if Florida comes out and wins like their first 4 games, they're going to go undefeated, and I'll say that on the podcast when it happens. But it won't happen. I'll be so overhyped, but it is what it is. I think 8-4 is really great. 5 wins gets him fired. 6 wins makes the next season even hotter. 7, we're looking good. I just don't. It's hard to recruit when you're going 7-5.
Well, and I agree. Like, I mean, if you win 6 wins or you win 6 games, it will be, that seat will be so hot, it will be blinding.
Oh yeah.
What will it? And it's not atypical. It's not abnormal to have a coach fired mid-season, but I mean, I think you have a decent out-of-conference schedule. You're going to win your out-of-conference games. You play A&M
week 3. We play Miami week 1.
You should win that game.
Cristobal's done.
Where's the game at?
I think it's in the Swamp.
In the Swamp.
You have to win that game.
Yeah, what we should have won was the Missouri game at the end of the year and the Florida State game that flips the hot seat to cold real fast. But yeah, I think so. They go. Florida goes. Miami at home, Sanford at home, A&M at home, at Mississippi State, UCF at home, at Tennessee, Kentucky at home, Georgia in Jacksonville, Texas at Austin, LSU at home, Ole Miss at home, Florida State in Tallahassee.
Do you think you'll have a chance to beat A&M? It's a home game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Elko first year, y'all know what the team's going to look like. And Napier, Graham Mertz is the one highlight that I touched on earlier. I think, was like top 5 in completion percentage this year. Made really good decisions. Is not the same quarterback he was at Wisconsin. I don't know. I couldn't remember any of those games because nothing ever happened. But he's turned the corner. Billy's using him in the right way. It's just, can we get a little bit better decision making when he comes into crunch time? And I just don't know, because I just blame it. I blame it on a shoe. And it all started under Mullen.
Has he brought in an OC or anything this offseason?
Not yet. I don't think the offense was the problem. I think a little bit of the decision making. So if he learns, he learns. If he doesn't, he's probably out.
So when you say we need to hire a special teams coordinator and OC, that makes me have PTSD to a certain person.
Right. Did you say you said Napier? You also said Pittman, right?
Yeah,
Pittman's there. Aranda's there.
Down the fucking mountains in Arkansas. So
Petrino's going to give him his Harley and take over his job.
Yeah, bring that, Bobby.
Yeah,
I think I don't know.
I thought he might be going.
I think Shane Beamer's on the hot seat.
Who?
South Carolina.
Yeah,
because I think they went like 9-3. Then they went like.
Look, no one's going to be the HBC. No one's going to be the head ball coach. What South Carolina had to have.
Spurrier, but what did Spurrier really accomplish at South Carolina though?
They had like 2 or 3 years in a row where they had like 10-win teams.
Okay.
They had I mean, but like, he made South Carolina kind of relevant.
Yeah.
Which after he left, they weren't, and still aren't.
You're right. I retract my statement.
They had Spencer Rattler.
They had some good teams under Spurrier. They may have not won the East because they had to go through Georgia and Florida, and I think Mizzou a couple of years. But I mean, Beamer,
I think it depends what he does.
They beat North Carolina in the Mayo Bowl last year, and I think they had a better year the year before. but they've consistently regressed. They didn't make a bowl this year. This is year 4, year 5, maybe. I just don't know. I mean, you had Muschamp, who was not very good. We saw what he did at Florida. Not very good. I'm not trying to downplay you, Trey, but it's just like I feel like Beamer's in a. But they play one of the hardest schedules in the country every year.
They do every year.
Yeah.
What
do you
Beamer's
think?
One of my guys.
What about James Franklin?
No, well, his buyout's insane.
What is it? You know?
Oh, too much for Penn State.
It's like damn near in Jimbo category, isn't it?
I mean, and it's hard because you go 10-2 every year, but you lose to Michigan and Ohio State. And I get it. It's like, you're trying to go over that hurdle, like, OU was always Texas and A&M was just, the boogeyman. Like, you're always trying to get above OU, or you're in the SEC where you're Georgia trying to go over Alabama. It's just like, it's hard to get over the hurdle of Ohio State and Georgia or Ohio State and Michigan, and you go 10-2 every year. The Big Ten, it's just like,
that man's buyout is $65 million.
Yeah, so they can't.
You can't afford that.
They can afford it, but it would handicap them.
They just need 10 whiteout games and they'll do it.
You never know. I didn't think they were going to do it, but they did it. So
Texas money is different than Penn State money.
True.
Yeah.
I don't know if they got much oil up there.
Y'all want to let's roll over to the NFL.
All right, Super Bowl preview. Kansas City Chiefs, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, Taylor Swift. Patrick Mahomes Sr.
Taylor boyfriend.
Swift Bowl.
Brock Purdy.
Jalen, who you got in the Super Bowl?
You don't bet against East Texas.
Let me preface this. I think Kansas City opened as a 2.5-point dog or 3.5-point dog. I think they're now a 1.5-point dog.
Yeah. You don't bet against East Texas. Mahomes showed, was that 2 weeks ago, what he was capable of doing under pressure. He went to Baltimore. Baltimore was the favorite, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I bet on Baltimore and I lose.
So. Yeah, but you go into Baltimore and he just basically shows why he's the best quarterback in the NFL football league right now. He did everything. Like, the guy's unbeatable. Like, I don't care what nobody says. Yeah, he might have struggled. Everybody thought he didn't have the weapons around him, but look what he's done in the postseason. Went to Buffalo, played.
He's turned Rashee Rice into a number 1 receiver.
Huh?
We laughed at a buddy for drafting him in our fantasy football league.
Yeah, like the guys.
Like, who is Rashee Rice?
From SMU.
Mahomes is just a guy. He's from East Texas. You don't bet against guys from East Texas. We're proven winners. And I think San Francisco doesn't stand a chance against that defense either. I love San Francisco's defense. I think they have the number 2 best defense in the league this year. And, I think they're going to get the job done.
Trey, you?
I wholeheartedly agree. The Chiefs' defense is probably the best that Patrick Mahomes has had since he's been there. I think it's, at the end of the day, Patrick Mahomes. He's the best quarterback in the NFL. He's the best quarterback of his generation. If all goes well and he wins on Sunday, then he is right there in the GOAT talk. I think he's on track with Tom Brady. I think Brady went like 6 or 7 years between 3 and 4. And so he's just got the whole world in front of him. It's just, he keeps winning to the point where it's, you could call it burnout, but like, you just can't stop going with him because he just doesn't stop winning.
He reminds me a lot.
He's starting to remind me and Brady in the fact that I respect him because he's so freaking good, but I don't like him because he's
but Mahomes
winning.
Reminds me a lot of myself when I played quarterback.
For what, the C or D team in like 8th grade?
I also started wide receiver and linebacker.
I thought he played left out.
Spoon played quarterback and middle linebacker.
Yeah,
Both ways.
Yeah,
Both
but he
but
wasn't.
I only
there.
played one way because the other guy was a little bit better.
I always thought
Who was the other guy?
K. Rod, Cordell.
He's playing in the CFL right now. They won a bowl game. I mean, they won this.
They won the damn
They won the Grey Cup.
Super
They
Bowl.
won the Great Cup,
Grey
Canadian
Cup.
Bowl. Yeah, he did do that.
Yeah, some serious shit
He's
the
from
Argonauts,
East
I'm
Texas.
pretty
You
sure.
don't bet against East Texas guys.
because we're winners.
Stubby, who do you like?
I went with Baltimore 2 weeks ago, and once that happened, I told myself I wasn't going to bet against Mahomes. But, I mean, when I look at it, I think the 49ers have the best overall team. But
Like Cam Newton said, the quarterback's the 10th best player on the team, so they got to be pretty damn good.
I mean, he's not far off. I think Cam's hating a little bit, but I think they got the better overall team. But it matters who you got touching that football every single play. And I think I can't go against Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. I think they just take it to another.
You can't leave Kelce out of it because
They take it to another level in this playoff time because during the season they didn't. I mean, I was questioning it. I mean, this is the first time Mahomes was playing a playoff game on the road. I think his whole career, and they've done it every week this playoff. So, yeah, I'm rolling with Mahomes. Not gonna think twice about it.
I mean, I hate to be a dead horse, but Mahomes has played Jimmy G in the Niners. He's played Tom Brady in the Bucks, and he's played the Eagles last year. He's won 2 Super Bowls. He's 2-1 in the Super Bowl.
If you say the Chiefs, I'm automatically switching my answer. We can't all.
I'm about to say, are we gonna do a clean sweep? That's not.
We can't. We know that's bad luck.
Well, I don't like agreeing. I don't like agreeing with
the Fade Dave segment will
well
be coming soon. To all those listening, the Fade Dave segment will be coming soon. I give them my picks. You bet against me, and you will win money.
Just for fun.
Yeah, this is all done on paper for fun.
Yeah, we bet push-ups because gambling is illegal in Texas.
And you can see Jalen has not lost a lot of bets.
It's moral, it's sinful, and it's wrong.
Yeah, I have not lost a lot of bets.
We're in the Bible Belt, for Pete's sake.
Yeah.
That's right. Southern Baptism, baby. With that being said, I like the Chiefs. I think the experience that Mahomes and Kelce and Marquez Valdes-Scantling and all the seasoned veterans on the Chiefs, I think it's going to. I mean, I think I'm just speaking generally. I think you have to make Brock Purdy beat you. I think you have to take away Christian McCaffrey or take away Deebo Samuel or I would assume probably McCaffrey. You have to take one of those guys away and make Brock Purdy beat you.
I mean, the thing is they have so many people. Who do you take away? I mean, it's hard to take away one.
Kittle,
I don't know. I think that's where the pass rush in the city comes.
Yeah.
And Amenahu, but he just got hurt. So I think Andy Reid's been there before. I mean, so is Shanahan with Jimmy G a couple of years ago. But I just feel like that the experience from the Chiefs and Mahomes being in the moment. I like the Chiefs to cover, like the Chiefs to win. I'm also on the under. I think it's going to be about a 31-17 game, 48.
I officially changed my answer. I want to Brock all night and Purdy all day. Go Niners.
Go Niners.
Okay.
Go Niners.
Yep. Go Niners.
I would rather you take the Niners because I do not like agreeing with you. So, that makes me feel a lot better about the situation.
Yeah, you don't agree because I'm usually right.
Every bet you gave me on paper that we just did for fun, I have lost.
What are you talking about? Because gambling is illegal in the state of Texas.
You talking to me or him?
He's talking
to me.
No, but every bet I make is guaranteed to lose. So if you want to fade me, that's probably in your best interest. But
no. So Niners, the points and the over. What? Just another caveat.
When's their first Super Bowl?
If that does happen, Andy Reid in the go talk with Belichick.
I think he already is.
He's got the championship games to prove it, but just not the Super Bowls.
Well, Jimmy Johnson won 2 with the Cowboys. I mean, Lombardi got 7, right?
Where Belichick, but yeah,
Belichick, Lombardi, he's up there. I'm not saying
what about the Cowboys?
Like Landry, he won 3.
What about him?
What do you
Jimmy
mean?
Johnson won
They're the best
2.
team in the state of Texas.
Who was
No, we were playing later than y'all were.
Hey, I got
Montana won 5, didn't he?
Got the best quarterback.
That's the quarterback
State.
though. Shula.
Who was the coach though? Who was the coach with the Niners?
I'm pretty sure it was Shula.
Was it
Don Shula, or was that the Dolphins?
I don't remember.
Anyway, but Belichick's got 7 of them. Don't you think Reed's got to get at least?
He gets up
4
there
or 5?
with.
I mean, I guess he's done it on different organizations, so that makes it more impressive. But
yeah,
Belichick's won 6. Bill Walsh. That's who.
6. He's won 6.
Bill. And who'd you say is one? Montana didn't win 5. I'm pretty sure he won 3, and Young won 2.
Okay.
And but Shula, that was the West Coast offense. Not Shula. Shula is Dolphins. That's why I'm thinking about that undefeated team. I think he's got to be up there. He joins a bunch of guys at 3.
Yeah.
Chuck Noll is at 4, but he's got to be in the talk. The longevity is there. I mean, he started all this shit with Donovan McNabb. I remember playing with Donovan McNabb in Madden 05. So
that was a long time ago, Pods.
That's 20 years ago. So he's been doing it for that long, just as long as Belichick. Obviously, the Super Bowls aren't there, but the championship appearances are there. And I just think he deserves his flowers, and I'll eat cheeseburgers with him when he wins.
And a McRib.
I like the cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Love me some McRibs.
I think he'll get there. I think he'll get there with Mahomes.
Only available at McDonald's.
Well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up.
Absolutely.
Thank y'all thank everybody for tuning in to Live from the Pines. We will be back after the Super Bowl. I hope this Super Bowl is not all about Taylor Swift. I hope it's about the guys out there on the field, but we know what it's coming come Sunday. Thank you everybody.
All about Taylor Swift.
I got one more.
We got Swifties out there. Yeah,
we support Swifties. We'll take their support as well.
The Swifties post got me a lot of recognition and a lot of business.
Yeah, you don't go after Swifties; they might come after us. So
yeah,
bring them.
For the record,
also,
Taylor Swift.
I also want to say rest in peace, Toby Keith.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Toby Keith. Perfect bridge. OU baseball. We'll be talking about that. So, sorry for the next 4 months. I'm boomer. So,
absolutely.
Yep. Well, thank everybody for tuning in Live in the Pines. We'll be back after the Super Bowl. Everybody have a great night.
Absolutely. Live from the Pines.